Today's sewing tutorial is all about zipper pockets. The Welt zipper pocket, also known as the exposed zipper pocket. If you want to learn how to make this zipper pocket, then stick around and I will take you step by step. Hi friends, Tracy here from the Sewing Channel. Welcome back, and if you're new here, welcome. Today's tutorial is all about the Welt zipper pocket. It looks a little tricky at first, but I know you can do it. You can add this exposed Welt zipper pocket to any of your sewing projects. Now I know you want to get busy and make this zipper pocket, right? Enough talking already. Let's get busy. To do this pocket today, you'll need an outer fabric, an inner fabric, a zipper, and some interfacing. Iron your interfacing to the wrong side of your outer fabric. The interfacing will give our zipper some stability there on the front. Next, lay out your zipper the way you would like to see it on your fabric. Wherever you would like your zipper to end, measure 1.5 inches in from the side and go ahead and put a pin there. That'll help us remember where that 1.5 inches is. Now we're going to measure 1.5 inches in from the side to the top of that zipper. I am measuring where the zipper tracks actually end, right at the very stopping point. So I'm not measuring those extra fabric ends at all. I'm going to put a pin right in front of where those tracks actually end. Now you're going to just put a pin right in the middle there and then flip it over. With everything pinned, I want you to go ahead and feel where that zipper is, that bulky part with the pull tab on it, and I want you to make a circle right around it. With your fingers, go ahead and feel down the entire zipper. Now what you're feeling for is the teeth of the zippers, and then you're just making slash marks all the way down with your pencil. Right in front of where you made that circle, I want you to put a line, and then where we put the pin at the end of that zipper tape, I want you to put a line there too. Now you're going to take the pins out of the front area that you put in. And now what we're going to do is take a ruler and we're going to connect those slash marks that you made on the back. Now I'm not sure if this is the conventional way on how to put one of these pockets in, but it's how I put one of these pockets in, and it makes it much easier for me. With that line being center that you just drew, you're going to go ahead and add 1/4 inch to each side of that line. Now we're going to add the 1/4 inch to the other side of the line, just as you see me do here, just 1/4 inch. You should end up with something that looks like this. Now these two lines, or these two spaces together, will add up to 1/2 inch. With your ruler, you're going to go to the end where you put those side lines, where it was 1.5 inches in from the side, and you're going to draw a straight line, but make sure that it's straight by squaring it off with those 2/4 inch marks that you just made. Now from those side lines, I want you to measure 1/4 inch up and put a dot right there. And from that dot, you're going to draw a line just like you see me do down to the corners right there. You're going to do this to both ends. Again, measure 1/4 inch up from that side line, make a dot, and then you're going to draw a line from that dot to each corner of those 1/4 inch marks. Now you're going to take a pin, and those side lines that you made, you're going to find the center, and you're going to poke a pin starting from the front, then through toward the back on both sides. You're only going to leave them in there for a minute though. So after you do that, then you're going to turn your fabric over so that your front is facing up, and you see those 2 pins right there? You can see those still. If you have directional fabric, you're going to want to turn it upside down at this point. And since mine is directional, mine's going upside down. Using those 2 pins as our guide, we're going to lay our fabric up on top of them. Now it's only one layer of fabric, remember. You're not going to fold it in half just yet. So right now I'm trying to figure out how much I'm going to have above those pins, or how much I'm going to have above the zipper. 1.5 to 2 inches above those pins will probably be just fine. And we already have the amount on the sides, so we're good there. And then we're going to go ahead and pin that face down to the front of our fabric. With both pieces pinned together, you are going to sew around that outer rectangle area that you see me pointing to. Just sew right around. You need to be very precise when you turn the corners. We don't want to sew past an area and then have to backstitch and go around the corner. These corners have to be mitered very closely. It should look something just like this. I chose to use a rotary cutter to do this part, but you can definitely use just scissors if that's all you have. But you need to cut from that triangle area to the other triangle area using that middle line as your guide all the way down. Then you're going to take your scissors, and from the tip of that triangle, you're going to cut into the sides following that line just like that, but not cutting into the thread area at all. You need to get really close when you do this step. If you don't get close enough when we go to turn it, it will pucker terribly. When that's done, you're going to go ahead and lay it out on your table, and you're going to fold that top piece down. Now you're only going to do about, on this particular project, about 5 inches or so worth of understitching right where I'm pointing. And it should look something just like this. Do not sew into the sides though. Let's look at it a little closer. Now you see here where the stitch is at, and then there's the back portion. And you see that? It's just a straight stitch, just tacking those together, and I'm not sewing down the sides at all. If you sew down the sides and try to keep going with that stitch, it will totally mess your project up. Just a little bit of stitching helps tack that down. And now I'm going to turn it around, and we're going to do understitching on the big portion of that pocket. So I'm lifting it up, and I'm just finger pressing it with my fingers, and I'm going to do just a row of understitching right there where I pointed to. Do not go on the ends at all. It should look something just like this. Taking the extra time to do the understitching on both sides is going to really help our pocket lay nice and flat. So it should look something like this after the understitching, and now what you're going to do is just go ahead and shove it all through that pocket. It seems kind of weird, I know, and goes against everything you've ever thought about sewing when you're doing it. It doesn't even feel right, but go ahead and put it through that pocket. And then you'll see what I mean about that understitching. When we go to turn everything just like this, it's going to be a lot easier, and it's going to lay nice and flat for us. And then we're going to give it a good pressing all the way around, front and back. Now we're going to turn it over and look at the back. Now you're just going to take your fingers and just kind of press everything and fuss with it and pull everything so that it's nice and flat, and make sure there are no creases in your fabric, and then you're just going to give it a really good hot press. I want you to notice here that you should be looking at that top stitching on the back portion. Take your time and make sure that everything is laying just how it should be. Turn it over and give the front a good pressing again, and just make sure, checking your work, that everything is laying just right. So far so good. Now I'm just going to lay the zipper down just to show you how it's going to connect. So I'm just laying it just over that opened area, and you see the edge there, I'm going to lay that bulky part right in front of the edge of the fabric where it was turned on the side. But before we do that, we're going to take some double-sided tape. Now, I absolutely recommend double-sided tape for any zipper project whatsoever. You're going to take that double-sided tape, there it is, and you're going to put it right on the edge of that fabric, just like you see me do. You're going to need to do this to the other opening edge as well, so you'll need 2 long strips of the double-sided tape. I would never attempt a zipper project without some double-sided tape. I mean, it just stays exactly where you put it. I mean, it's amazing, really. It actually makes me feel more confident as a sewer. It really does. Be sure to pull the backing off of that double-sided tape, and then we are all set to go with our zipper. Now what you're going to do is just lay your zipper down into that opening. Now, just like we said, the toggle of that zipper is going to be laying up against the edge of that side. Now I'm just very carefully laying my zipper down, being sure that all sides are catching and touching every part of that zipper. And then we're going to turn it over, and then you see there, wow, it looks really good already. But be sure and sew it though, because otherwise it's not going to stay together just with that tape. And I'm fussing right there and fixing a part that wasn't straight. Now that's what's so great about the double-sided tape. You can pull it apart and redo it if you need to. Once everything is where you would like it, you're going to take it to your sewing machine and you're going to sew top stitch around that entire zipper area onto the fabric. And what you're doing is you're attaching the front fabric to the zipper. Now, when you go over the side that has the zipper teeth on it, what I do is I hand crank through it. You'll see me do it right here. And then when I get past the zipper teeth where I know it's safe, that I'm not going to break a needle, then I continue sewing. And I'm just sewing right around, making sure that I connect the zipper tape. Let's test our zipper out, just to make sure that everything is in good working order. Yep, it looks pretty good to me. Looking at the back now, we're going to fold our pocket in half, just like you see me do here. Right now I'm going to cut off any excess that's on the sides. Now, if your zipper was too long, we're going to go ahead and take some old scissors and cut right through the plastic on the end there, just like you see me do, to get rid of that. Now, if you have metal zipper teeth, you're going to want to hand sew that stopper in. Because our zipper is on an angle diagonally, we do have a really weird shaped pocket. And if yours is on an angle too, then yours should be weird shaped too. Take it over to your sewing machine and sew right along that edge only, the pocket edge only. Be sure not to catch your front panel in your seams. This is what it should look like after you have just sewn the pocket all around only. You see how nothing else is in the seam there, just the pocket only. You need to know here that you could have made your pocket a lot longer than what I did. You could have also made your zipper a lot shorter and not as much on an angle. You could have put it straight. How cute would this zipper style be in a skirt or a cute romper dress or even a pair of pants? You could even use a metal zipper. There are so many different style of zippers out there, ones with different pulls on them, that you could really customize a tote bag if you did want to make a tote bag. If you've never done an exposed zipper before, I would encourage you to at least practice first with an old zipper and some scrap fabric, just so that you can get the feel for what it's like to do one. They are a bit tricky, but not really, not after you've done it a few times. So practice. Until next time on the Sewing Channel, take care.